What's up, everybody? Welcome to tonight's episode of the Not Your Average Mark Wrestling Podcast. I am your host, the Tutorial Boss Guapo, joined by the one and only cosplayer of an old white Stevie Wonder, Mike Caldwell, and the man who told Jim Cornette, the glasses thing works, Mr. Rick Elzy. Guys, what's happening? Stop no selling.
Doing pretty good, man. Doing pretty good.
I'm trying to figure out if A, he's awake.
And his name is John C.
I have a little bit of celebrity now. I was recognized at United the other day.
Okay, I can't keep it up.
So what's up, guys? How are we doing today?
Hell, any better, I'd be twins.
There you go. Possibly even triplets.
Yes, just depending on the day.
Wow.
So
A good day. So a good day for you leads to mitosis.
Something like that.
mitochondria,
Okay.
powerhouse of the cell. I remember that. I did learn some things. So I'm gonna start the show off a little different than I did before. I see we got J-Reb in the chat subscribing for a 19th month in a row. J-Reb, love you to death, brother. Thank you so much. I did want to check in with you. Of course, wildfires are crazy in California right now. So J-Reb, I'm glad to see you on here. Know that you're doing good. But we do send all the good vibes out to the people of California right now. And it's not something I ever thought I'd hear myself say, but seriously, the wildfires they're eating everything up. So I'm not sure how close they are to you, Cameron, but stay safe, brother. That being said, let's do a few thank yous. I want to say thank you to Ross and the boys from Labor 12. They do our intro, outro music. Track's called Head Rush, album's called Monsters, and it is an absolute banger album. J-Reb saying it's in Southern California. It's about 12 hours away from him, so that's good. That's good. I do want to say thank you to Joe and American Legacy for the Not Your Average merch. J-Reb's 3D printing. You see this little piece of awesome right here? That is above Hulk Hogan's beer for a reason, because it's Hulk Hogan. This light box is a J-Reb 3D printing original. If you've got a logo, something you want to see in a light box, definitely get a hold of Cameron, jrebs3dprinting.com. Want to thank you, Rick, and TJ for heckyeahradio.com. If you miss one of our episodes, you can check out the audio version by going to heckyeahradio.com and clicking on the Not Your Average Mark button. Thanks to Blind Ambition Studios for our graphics. TheWrestlingSociety.com. If you go to their website, they have an area called the podcast room where you can find us as well. Just recently, just kind of throw this out there, I actually got a preview of what J-Reb's been doing with his website, jrebs3dprinting.com. And there's even a spot on there where you can find Not Your Average Mark Wrestling Podcast there. So J-Reb, appreciate that, brother. Want to say a big thank you to the guy. He's the one that makes all of this happen, makes us look good. And for some of us, that is a task all in of itself. One of the things he's worked very hard on is our website, notyouraveragemark.com. Go check that out. You can find out all sorts of stuff about us, about our merch, about what we've got going on. So make sure you check out the website, notyouraveragemark.com. Also, a thank you to AIWF. We are listed among their approved podcasts as well. So the footprint's getting bigger, and I appreciate all of you for it. What a week it has been in wrestling, gentlemen.
Yes, absolutely.
From, SmackDown to a wild BCW Cold as Ice to Raw to next Saturday, we've got Collision Course at Jake's. I mean, it's just been a week. So let's jump into it. We're going to start off with our main roster moments. So looking at SmackDown, the Cody KO thing, right now it's red hot, and I love it. And this is why I love it, because on the surface, you've got KO, the heel, versus Cody, the babyface. But as you watch this thing go, slowly but surely, you're seeing the crowd kind of do this. Like how many signs did you see on SmackDown that said KO was right?
I honestly didn't pay attention to the crowd.
I caught some. There was some KO was right. So I'm wondering if we're gonna get that, get that kind of organic face turn for KO, and we finally get heel Cody.
I mean, hell, he's been doing the Homelander thing for who knows how long now. So
There.
I mean, Cody definitely has an edge, and he's starting to have a little bit more of an edge with the feud with KO. But people are going to have to let go of this Cody turning heel thing because the man is number one, he's the face of the company. Number two, he's the biggest merch seller they've got. And number three, when this was the same narrative that everybody said about Cena, and like it followed him for years. When's Cena gonna turn heel? When's Cena? Good baby faces don't have to turn heel. And I wish that people would back off of that because Cody is an anomaly in the sense that in a world where wrestling is completely exposed and fans choose to boo and cheer who they want, and then they can't program them anymore. Cody is one of those rare guys who has almost unlimited support from every demographic, except for the 7% of internet marks who want him to be heel. I don't get it.
That I mean, and you're right in that, but as much as I don't like to talk about the clown show, Cody as a heel there, it was just an interesting, like you watched it because you're like, seriously, Cody's heel, and it gained interest. So
He was a heel on the indie scene. I mean, he was a heel in Ring of Honor. He was a heel in Japan. He was a heel. He was part of Bullet Club. I mean, I get that, but he showed up in WWE as a returning hero, as a legacy character who has carried the company on his shoulders for the last 4 years almost. And they're doing record business. And yet there's still this little group of fans that are like, any path we can find to Cody being a heel. Like, why? Why? My classic question to everything people want about wrestling: what next? You turn Cody heel, then what?
well, short of The Rock and hopefully Randy, what do you do keeping Cody face? Like,
Cody can be a baby face a lot. Cody can be a baby. Look at the roster on SmackDown and count the number of heels. All you got to do is build a credible championship challenger. Cody is the champion. Cody's main story only has to be defending the title.
True.
That's really all he has to do. If you want to have a rich story, you've got Randy Orton. That they could tell a year's worth of story off of that alone. But that whole narrative of, well, it's been 5-6 minutes of this KO feud. I'd really like for KO to be a babyface now, and we can turn Cody heel. Why? I don't get it.
I love the Kevin Owens heel character, especially how he's doing it now, because the great villains of the world, I mean, you're looking at guys, comic books go back decades and decades where the antagonists in the comic books believe they're in the right.
Oh yeah.
So it
righteous
worked really
yes.
well.
Righteous heels are always the best heels. And if you've got fans that are bringing signs now that says KO is right, and you've got Kevin wearing a shirt that says Kevin is right, you're going to have that group of fans that are going to come around, and that's perfectly fine. But, KO having a twinge of righteousness, to me, doesn't equal Cody dyeing his hair black and becoming a heel.
That's fair.
True.
I will say, I like that they started the show with that. Cody comes out there to talk, and KO shows up, and Cody chases him out. I really feel like we get to a point where Cody's going to get in his own way. KO is working the mind, and he's going to have make Cody get in his own way, and we'll talk more about that here shortly. But what does that do? You have Mr. Heyman in the ring when Tama Tonga and Jacob Fatu show up, making it become very clear that Paul should have worn the brown pants because he's all by himself with Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga. Of course, Cody shows up right in time to clear the ring. Jimmy gets laid out. Ugly. I mean, it was a good opening to the show. And the fact that LA Knight pushes Jacob Fatu out the arena door and locks it, that's not going to come back and bite him. No. I was kind of surprised that they're getting LA Knight involved in this. And it comes to fruition afterwards, but you had Mishin and Chelsea Green with a match, and it wasn't as good as their Saturday Night Main Event match, but it's still a good match. And I've got to say that kick to Piper Niven's face looked absolutely brutal and was sold so well. Like Piper sold the hell out of that, and I thought it was great.
Yeah, I'm really, really enjoying what they're doing right now with the girls, especially Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. They're great. I'm impressed that they've been able to almost completely rehab Michin to the point that she's a pivotal character. It really didn't take much. I mean, it just took putting her in a logical situation to be cheered. And, again, I think it proves that it's not too terribly difficult to get a reaction as long as what you're doing makes some kind of sense.
Right.
Well, putting anybody, insert person here against Chelsea Green, and you're going to have the natural baby face.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's because Chelsea's that good as a heel.
Yes, absolutely. She is phenomenal as being a heel. Annoying.
But what's so cool about Chelsea is she's also funny. And even though she's a teeny bit more dastardly than she is funny, she's going to be one of those characters that when her time comes, that the crowd inevitably is 100% in her favor. It will not be hard to push her in that area.
No, not at all. We had Los Garzas come through with Pretty Deadly. They had last week had the whole thing where Pretty Deadly was trying to say Gargano but said Garzas. So some payback for that. They have a match, and it was, for me, it's a good start to a push for Angel and Berto, while also moving the DIY Pretty Deadly angle thing that they're doing. So I think this pushed both narratives really, really well. Kit Wilson laying on the ropes, calling out to DIY, "Come on, come save us!" And it was, I don't know why it was funny to me, but it was funny to me.
No, that was a comical situation.
Well, I enjoy Pretty Deadly a lot, but I only have one thing on my agenda for Pretty Deadly right now, and if I don't get it by Mania, I'm not going to be happy.
And that would be Pretty Deadly the musical.
They keep teasing it. They got to give it to us. They got to give it to us. And I need as many people, I need as many heels in there as they can get. I need them to show things that they've been filming for months. And I just need it to be funny and cool. And I know that it will be because they're hilarious.
They are. And it's it's coming. I know that it is, and I'm interested to see how they pull it off. And like, you have to put John Cena in it somewhere.
I think it should star R-Truth, to be honest.
I mean, that would be awesome too.
What's up?
No, I'm not gonna say that because then he'll leave. The LA Knight Shinsuke Nakamura match. Loved the match. Hated the ending. This match had so much potential to be like big, like real big. The moves they were doing, everything was great. I mean, I get that we're getting the former Timu bloodline involved, but I mean, I guess I get it. You know, he pushed Jacob Fatu out the door and locked it, and this is the get back for that. But
Well, and they also spared us having to have a clean finish in the match. They spared Shinsuke. They spared LA Knight. This was the classic schmoz, and that's a wrestling staple.
Yeah,
it is.
it created a really good out for everybody, and it all tied the whole story together, and it made it make sense.
It does. I just
You knew as soon as Jacob Fatu got pushed out of the door and LA Knight shut the door behind him, you knew the finish to that match was going to happen. Did you or did you not?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
I actually am in a group chat where we talk during the shows, and that was the first thing I said was, that's going to come back and bite him in the ass.
Yeah.
So, the Motor City Machine Guns, they're slowly becoming one of my very favorite tag teams. Just the moves that they pull off and the speed. But here's the thing that tripped me out. They had their match with A-Town Down Under. I didn't realize how small in stature they are. Like,
The machine guns are tiny.
they are, and I didn't realize how much so until they were in the ring face to face with Grayson Waller and Austin Theory, who I never really thought to be very big guys until they were standing across from the Motor City Machine Guns.
Well, Austin Theory's like 6'1". So
Put him next to Alex Shelley, and he's a giant.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Whenever that's what happens when you get somebody that's a legit 5'7".
It's fair. It's like 5'3.5". I'm just saying, he's tiny. It was a great match, though. Like, I really enjoy the speed of the moves, and it's like, oh, we're getting beat down. Oh, we're getting beat down, and then bam, 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 move after move after move, just in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. I like it. I think it's something that really adds to the tag team division, and I see them getting the titles again at some point.
Okay, here's a quick question for you, just because I don't know the answer to it.
Okay.
Have you ever followed the Motor City Machine Guns pre-WWE?
Seen, yes. Followed, no.
Okay.
I've seen them apart. Like, I saw a few Chris Sabin matches.
Mm-hmm.
But as the Motor City Machine Guns, I'd seen them a couple of times, but had not followed them.
There's a reason why they're called your favorite tag team's favorite tag team.
Yeah, they show it every time they get in a ring.
The whole modern style of tag team wrestling was kind of the project child of the Motor City Machine Guns in the mid to late 2000s.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a very, very innovative team.
They are. And not only are they innovative in the ring and they pull off all these moves, but they're another one of those teams that do kind of like I talk with Bailey. Anytime you put somebody in the ring with Bailey, that person is going to be elevated. Anytime you put a team in the ring with the Motor City Machine Guns, it's going to elevate their opponents.
And let's face it, that's actually the reason they're there.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, that's absolutely right. We went from that to TV time. I got to give it to Tiffany. You know, she put it out there. She's like, y'all think I'm a dumb blonde. I was playing Nia all along. She want to think I was stupid. That's fine. That makes her stupid because look who's the champ. Apparently, Nia Jax took exception to this fact and decided to join us and said that you're either going to give me my belt or I'm going to go take my belt. What do you want to do? This gives us the whole proverbial my turn sequence. Bailey comes out and says, no, 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 no. I would have won that belt before if Tiffany hadn't gotten involved. So you need to step back, Nia. Which brought out Naomi along with her tag team partner, Bianca Belair, to say, I would have had this last week if you hadn't gotten involved. And this is why I love Nick Aldis. Nick Aldis comes out and says, Fatal 4-Way, go. He's like, I'm not going to deal with it. It's a Fatal 4-Way. The winner gets, number one contendership and go.
The last couple of weeks of SmackDown have absolutely convinced me that it will be revealed that Bianca and Naomi were in on it together to get rid of Jade Cargill, because Bianca Belair is slowly morphing her look. And I believe that that is for a heel transition.
Oh, I 100% believe that. Like this match was a good match. I liked getting to see, Naomi across from Bailey. They're good friends and they go at each other. Nia shows up, they got to fight Nia again. And then you get a point where you've got Naomi and Bianca Belair, tag team champions, kind of going at each other. Here comes Nia, they all got to fight Nia again. Then you get Bianca and Bailey, who work together to get Nia Jax out of the ring and then fight the hell out of each other because they don't like each other. I kind of saw Bailey winning this one, and the reason for that is exactly what you just said, because I feel like we're moving towards Bianca and Naomi having to answer to Jade Cargill kind of angle. So it wouldn't make any sense to make one of them the number one contender.
So do you think we get Jade Cargill back in the Rumble?
I don't know if it's going to be Rumble or pre-Rumble, but by the Rumble, yes.
I think that Rumble's probably the best bet, and if it's not, it's the SmackDown right after.
Okay.
But I think the Rumble's your best bet.
That took us to Jimmy and Cody versus Tama and Jacob. It was a good match. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like it was a move the needle in the storylines match. Like that's all this was, because you had KO come out and Cody fought all the way to the back with KO. Jacob and Tama beat down Jimmy, continuing the whole bloodline versus used to be a bloodline thing.
Yeah, this was 100% a two storylines converging. Let's have a match to disguise that we're just doing two angles. That's exactly what it was.
Now, let's talk about ramifications of that. This is what I was talking about Cody getting in his own way. Because every time he sees KO, it's on sight. His words. And so every time something happens, he jumps and runs and goes and chases KO. Well, he just left Jimmy in the ring by himself to get destroyed in his bright freaking red attire. I thought it was cool because everything's blue. So, but they leave him to get destroyed. Okay, now there's a problem. Now Jimmy's got a problem with Cody. You left me here to get beat up. And if Jimmy's got a problem, there's a possibility that now Jay's like, man, why did you leave him to get beat up? And now we're doing the whole problems angle.
Well, that's one of the fortunate aspects of current booking in WWE is you have so many players that are so easily connected in story that every single action that somebody takes is going to have a reaction from 2 to 3 other characters. You've got characters left and right calling each other out on their bullshit. You've got people bringing up stuff from 10 years ago. I mean, right now, the sowing of seeds in WWE storylines is absolutely the craziest I've seen in a long time.
And I'm here for it. Loving it.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
That takes us into Raw, and what an opening for Raw. There's a couple of things I want to say about the second episode of Raw on Netflix. I don't know what the viewership on it was. I don't remember if that's one of the ones you sent me or not.
No, I didn't. I don't have the viewership. I didn't get the viewership for Raw.
I can say that I'm fairly certain the viewership was lower than it was for the first episode. But this episode of Raw was just as solid without Triple H, without John Cena, without The Rock, without The Undertaker, without Hulk Hogan, without all the fanfare, without the rapper guy who decided to smoke bud all the way down to the ring. Like, without all of those things, this episode of Raw was just as solid as the debut one, in my opinion.
Honestly,
That's
it
fair.
kind of took away all the parsley and garnish that they had on the plate, and we were left with the meat and potatoes.
Right.
And
I thought this episode was vastly superior to the previous one.
I could see it.
the biggest thing I liked about Raw was the fact that it ended abruptly. And it was like, okay, before we knew, okay, it's 9:50, it's 9:56. We're getting ready.
We got 4 minutes.
We got 4 minutes to shut down. Now it's like, okay, who knows?
Yeah. First episode went, what, 3-4 minutes, 7, maybe over 3 hours. This one was 2.5 hours. So, and there are people all over the internet bitching, moaning, and complaining. Why was it only 2.5 hours? Because that's where it needed to end.
Yeah.
Let me go ahead and answer
I mean,
that.
Triple H himself a couple of weeks ago on an interview said that he thought the ideal time was 2.5 hours. So,
Well, the opening of this, having Punk come out, take a few shots at Seth, saying, you know, one thing that's not on my plate anymore is Seth Rollins, and then talking about the sign. And I love it. He says, play my music. After he announces for himself for the Royal Rumble, play my music, and Seth Rollins' music hits. And you can feel the eye roll. Like, it's hilarious. And Seth's coming down to the ring, and Punk's laid up on the ropes looking at the announce team going, why can't it be Rhea Ripley? Why can't Rhea Ripley interrupt?
Because you're not that special.
Well, Seth comes down talking about, you know, I am ashamed of myself for losing that match against you, and the only way now that I know of that I can kill your dreams is to go win the Royal Rumble. So now Seth Rollins has declared for the Royal Rumble, which brings out
Drew McIntyre.
And Drew McIntyre says, you two are idiots. You're mirror images of each other, and you're both idiots. And CM Punk's like, let's throw hands. Let's go. And Drew says, you want to throw hands right here in San Jose? No. Why would I do that? That's dumb.
Okay.
Drew McIntyre is the best troll in the business right now.
Yes.
I was just exactly. I mean, right now, nobody can touch him.
No.
He is untouchable as a heel, and it is phenomenal. I mean, I don't want to end up using phenomenal over and over and over again, but it really is. It's something that's special and everything else that you don't get all the time.
It is. And after Drew tells them that he's not going to fight them because that's dumb, he declares for the Royal Rumble. So let's just pause for a second and think about, from SmackDown to Raw, what we've got. We've got Roman Reigns.
Mm-hmm.
We've got
John Cena.
We've got CM Punk. We've got Seth Rollins. We've got Drew McIntyre, all in the matter of 3 days.
And by the end of the episode, we had LA Knight and Jey Uso.
Exactly.
So when you look at that,
Any of them win that.
we're not even to the first 10 yet. And literally every single person that has declared, you can make a storyline argument why they could win.
Oh, yeah. So that opening.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
That's something that has not been done, I don't think, ever.
92. I would argue that the 1992 Royal Rumble, if you go back and look at that list, that had the most star power of any Rumble before it. And I don't know that you'll ever see one after it that had that kind of star power in it.
Except
But
maybe
this has been an amazing build just in 4 days.
yeah, it's crazy, and you could see anybody that's declared so far, you could see winning this thing, no problems.
Yeah.
This led into something that I know in the group I am in, there were certain people that were giddy like schoolgirls. Penta has made his debut.
I am
And
guilty as charged. Guilty as charged.
And what a great debut it is. First off, before I talk about how great Penta was in this, kudos to Chad Gable for putting him over in his debut and doing it well.
Yeah.
So kudos to Gable on that. All right. I am going to let Rick talk about this match, but there's part of the match that I'm going to talk about as well.
I have one gripe, and I'll leave that to the leave that.
Yeah,
to the
leave
end.
that till the end. All right, Rick, tell us about
Look,
Penta's match.
This is why this match was awesome. Because they didn't give us every single thing that Penta can do right away. They gave us just enough to show us what he's capable of, but he spent the majority of that match selling, which was amazing because they got people behind him. His entrance was great. The gear looked great. He looked like a star. And putting him with Gable, it really reminded me of Taz's debut at the 2000 Rumble against Kurt Angle. It was very much the same vibe.
Almost the
and
same
I feel what?
I said almost the same music.
Well, almost real close, but I mean, it was really, really good. And I just thought that all in all, it was great. It showed the versatility of Chad Gable. Chad Gable is quickly becoming one of those people that understands that you can lose and still be one of the most credible guys on the roster. And it's just awesome. And I'm so happy for Pentagon. Huge fan ever since Lucha Underground. I wanted the Lucha Bros to come to NXT before they signed with AEW. I'm so glad he's here because I fully believe that he's going to be a major, major star.
I couldn't agree more. And I'm glad you're both sitting down for this. And I hope everybody that's listening and watching is sitting down as well, because this is gonna set you back a little bit. Gable did a couple of moves to injure Penta's leg. And are you ready for this? Penta wrestled the rest of the match like he had an injured leg.
Yeah.
I make jokes, but I get so tired of, oh, my leg's broken. Now I'm gonna run around the ring and chase you. Like, that bugs the hell out of me. And to see Penta come in, have the injury to his leg, and then wrestle the rest of the match like he's got a problem with his leg was just very refreshing for me.
And he only had the adrenaline fire up like right at the end.
Yeah.
The only time or any time that he would do anything to do running after the leg situation, he would sit there and he would play with his leg for a little while and
Slap the leg.
slap it and try to get okay, I got to do something big. I got to get this situated. And then he would go and do it. And then he would go right back to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So that was my big thing for the match. Was not only did we get to see shades of what Penta can do, he sold the leg the whole time. That was and that doesn't sound like much, but that is a huge deal to me.
One more point I want to make.
Okay.
Kudos to Chad Gable for actually selling the Destroyer.
The Mexican
He
destroyer.
took the
in San Jose.
destroyer and he laid there dead.
Yes.
And it was and he just kicked out right at the last second, just adrenaline kick out, muscle memory, shoulder off the mat. But in a normal match, in today's wrestling, he would have popped right back up and hit some major freaking move.
And that's why
I was so happy about that.
Now, your problem with the match.
My problem with the match is the Destroyer is a pile driver.
Of sorts, yes.
Okay. We have somebody else that's giving people pile drivers and sending them off in stretchers.
But
How
it's
much
a different kind of power.
It's still the way Gable landed on that. He shouldn't have got up. Period.
I mean, he spiked him.
He got, but if we're trying to get this the pile driver situation, all pile driver situation under control to where, we take this seriously here. It's a pile driver's a banned move, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And we have a match go on for another 3.5 minutes after this said pile driver happens. It really discredits the pile driver.
Well, and let me speak to that for just a second. I don't think that's correct, and I'm going to tell you why. When people see the Destroyer, they don't see a pile driver. They see an acrobatic flip into a move. They don't see a pile driver, and the pile driver that's being talked about is the package pile driver. It's made to look like you're fixing to break their neck. So that's kind of where I'm at on that. That would be like saying, we get a match, Taker and Braun Breaker, and Breaker gets up from the tombstone. That's a pile driver. If he gets up from it, it doesn't. There's nothing about that that's going to discredit the tombstone.
I understand what Mike is saying. I understand that in its essence, it is a pile driver. I think the reason why I didn't have that much of an issue with it was first the momentum of the driver of the Destroyer. It's not the same impact as straight down into the mat.
Yeah.
So for me, when I see KO drop somebody in a package pile driver, I'm imagining the head going straight up into the spinal column.
Mm-hmm.
But in the flipping sense of the Destroyer, I feel like that's more like the top of the head getting whacked on the mat. Like that's more of a brain jiggler to me. That's just what runs through my head. But at the same time, I think one of the reasons why I didn't immediately be like, oh, I wish they hadn't done that, I was just so shocked that he sold it.
True.
Because as soon as he hit it, I just was like, he's just going to jump right up. And he didn't. And that's why I was like, okay, I think that's why my brain didn't go to the same place that yours did, even though I totally understand what you're saying.
I will say the execution of it, where it didn't look like it was planned. It looked like it just happened.
Yeah.
I loved that. And the execution of it was very, very well done.
Yep. The execution, the sell, the entirety of the move in effect was, great.
Honestly,
I almost said phenomenal.
Match of the night.
I'm not going to give it match of the night because I had a different match of the night, but it's a damn close second.
I think it was definitely the moment of the night.
Oh yeah, absolutely, moment of the night, and it's January, and I'm almost willing to call that debut of the year.
It was really good. It was really good.
The promo afterwards,
mm-hmm.
You felt every word he said, and there was some place that I saw the translation to everything,
hmm
and what he said in Spanish was even more heartfelt than what he said in English.
And here's the beauty part of that promo. Fans that weren't behind him and were like, I know everybody's excited about Penta, but who is this Penta guy? By the end of that promo, they're behind him too. Because of
Yeah.
exactly what you said, it was heartfelt. You could tell it
Yeah.
was heartfelt. You know, him speaking to his family, sitting ringside with his, I guess I'm assuming daughter, just tears in her eyes. I mean,
Yeah.
everything about everything he said from start to finish was heartfelt. And I can't tell you how many things I've read about people that had to go back and listen to the first little bit of it because their big thing was, wait a minute, did he just say that in English?
Yeah.
Hey, to quote Triple H when X-Pac jumped from WCW to the WWF, when you've been an indentured servant for 2 years, you run up a lot of feelings.
True. Very true.
Pat McAfee put Penta over more than everybody else. Everybody else was talking about it's Penta's dream for it's Penta's dream for this to happen, and McAfee actually said, "This is a pleasure for WWE to be graced with Penta."
Yep. Now, everything about the Penta debut, I loved every minute of it. Sheamus and Kaiser, top-notch match. Like I enjoy watching their chemistry in the ring, and they, bottom line, they beat the hell out of each other, and that's what you like to see.
Oh yeah, very very good, very hard hitting. Those two do have fantastic chemistry, and you know, it's probably a go-to match in Triple H's arsenal to have that right there.
And the interaction at the end of it, Sheamus, of course, coming up with the victory, and at the end of it, he goes and messes with Pat McAfee as he usually does, and just the face-to-face between him and Breaker, like that's good stuff, man.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to be the ref that ran over there and got in between them, because I won't be that guy. Dominic Mysterio. So he don't know what kind of angle he was trying to pull, but at last week's Raw, Rhea wins the thing, and he's like, "Oh, it's mommy, how you doing?" No, he got kicked right in the cajones, and so today or Monday, got face to face with Liv, his girlfriend, and brought her flowers, and she's like, "I'm not mad. I'm not mad at all." I was like, "Oh, don't believe that. I've seen that look before.
Yeah,
I know that look. Don't believe that."
any woman that says I'm not mad is full of it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I recognize that look. And so she's like, "You know what? As a matter of fact, why don't you go get my bags and get
Yeah.
Raquel's bags?" And he's like, "I don't think she's even mad." Dom.
Dude,
You
JD
poor soul.
McDonough, his reaction to Dom saying he didn't think she was mad. Like everybody is like, dude, she's livid. Like, what are you doing?
She's
So good.
Good.
Yeah, that's. Now, you made a point on the phone with me the other day, Rick, that I think we need to talk about here. They're going to have to be really, really careful.
Really careful.
With the Dom and JD McDonough and Carlito stuff, because it's funny as hell. And if they're not careful, they're going to make them faces just because everybody wants to see what they're going to do and laugh.
They have a very Three Stooges / Mean Street Posse quality to them.
Carlito,
He's cool.
yeah, he is cool. But that he is playing himself in real life right now.
He's
And
like
Yeah,
their
he
drunk
is.
uncle. That I've said it when he came back, and I'll say it now. He's like the drunk uncle.
The
But,
reason, look, the main reason that so many characters right now are resonating and people are getting over like they are is because I truly believe that the majority of the people we're seeing on television are just being who they are. They're just
During
playing themselves.
during the Attitude Era, I heard Steve Austin say something in an interview that has stuck with me, even doing radio, being on the radio as Guapo. What you hear from me, what you see from Stone Cold, and I feel like what you see from a whole lot of people right now is just a turned up version of who they are. They
Yep.
take their selves and turn the volume up to 10.
Mhm.
And that resonates.
You can't turn it up to 10. It has to go to 11.
No, even numbers or multiples of 5. Don't mess with me, man.
No, because it has to go to 11. Have you never seen Spinal Tap? It
I've
must
seen
always
Spinal
go
Tap.
to 11.
I'm telling you, even numbers or multiples of 5. I did. So we get Gunther, our champion, comes out and says that he's not real impressed with everybody right now. Wasn't impressed with what happened in the ring, last week. And because everybody's talking about who's the head of the table, who's the bloodline, who's this. It doesn't matter who it is because I'm the champ, and that's what matters. Which brings out Jey Uso. Jey Uso says, I want to be the champ. You're the champ. I want to be the champ. And when I say Gunther just straight up dressed him down, like it was bad. Like, you're a just great tag team wrestler. Ooh, okay. Made a big deal about his song style. It's just me, Oos. And I felt the answers that Jay gave. Like I felt like there was some real emotion there. And was it real emotion? Probably not, but it left you watching it like it was real emotion. I bet on myself every day because I wasn't supposed to be this. I was supposed to be just a tag team wrestler. So I felt like that was really, 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 really good. And so now we get a match. Gunther versus Jay at Saturday night's main event. That brings us to my match of the night, that being Dakota Kai versus Lyra Valkyria. What a match these ladies put on. There were moves that I don't blame. The crowd started chanting and was uncensored in chanting, holy shit, and I don't blame them.
I thought the match was really good, and I'm not high on Dakota Kai. I've never really been a big fan, but man, this was the match, and she impressed the hell out of me.
Mm-hmm. I feel like she's at a point in her career right now where she knows that she's injury prone because we have lost her several times for several months due to injury. And so she's at a point where she's creating new stars.
Mm-hmm.
And her putting Lyra over, Lyra becoming the very first women's intercontinental champion, and then having the sportsmanship ending where Lyra gets her hand raised by Dakota and then they hug it out. I was a fan of that. I know a lot of people think it's cliche and it's dumb, but I was a fan of it.
I love sportsmanship endings. I think they're awesome, especially when it's baby faces. And right now, Dakota and Lyra are both baby faces.
Yeah.
That's exactly how it should go.
So coming out of this, this will give you an idea of how close Triple H has got. I don't know about, I won't say everybody, but myself watching things. Because we get a scene of Rhea Ripley walking in to go to the ring. And I see somebody standing there talking to Maxine Dupree. And I'm like, was that Alexa Bliss? Because it was just a split second. I had to rewind it and go find out. It turns out it was not. It was Natty. But it looked like that's how close he's got us watching everything because everything means something.
Yeah. And there's all kinds of stuff hidden in the background. Things are going on in the background. You got to watch all the after shorts that come out. You got to watch Raw Talk and the you got to watch all these things because they're hiding things and they're saving stuff and they're throwing things out in digital. I mean, it's very immersive product right now.
Well, before Rhea comes out, we get a match that was set up earlier in the night. Sami Zayn versus The Miz. And Karrion Kross made an announcement that was kind of unexpected. It appears that the Wyatts have made their way to SmackDown. And I really think that's a cool way to announce that. You know, I've got my questions about the Wyatts on SmackDown, which will be answered in due time, I'm sure. But it was cool to have Karrion Kross in casual conversation with The Miz announce that they've been moved to SmackDown.
I love that he threatened Miz. If you
Yeah.
had anything to do with this,
I didn't have nothing. Sammy comes through and there's some interaction, so it sets up this match for Sammy versus the Miz, and it was a good match. Like there was good back and forth in it, and I don't think Miz gets enough credit. Everybody just kind of looks over him as eternal mid card, and he needs. I've heard people say he needs to go ahead and hang the boots up because he's not relevant. I am so against people thinking that he doesn't get nearly the kudos he deserves, and nobody sells like the Miz sells. That haluva kick, he sold the shit out of that.
I defy anyone.
That's my show.
I defy anyone to look across the wrestling landscape and name me 5 people, just off the top of your head, who can work, talk, bump, have the star power to carry press junkets, can wrestle anywhere on the card and be a believable contender, can be in the opener on one show, the main event on the other, and not skip a beat. Miz is a rare anomaly in the business as being a guy that you can literally take and do anything with, and it's going to hit.
He's that guy. If you need a main eventer, call the Miz. If you need an opener, call the Miz. If you need somebody to put talent over, call the Miz. If you need a good backstage segment, call the Miz. Like he does it all.
I can think of 2, and they're both on Raw. Gable.
I'll give you that.
Yeah, Gable's a good one.
But that's the only 2 I can think of right off the top of my head right now that can go in there and they can still get over without going over.
Yeah.
And the thing is that no matter what they have Miz do, it doesn't hurt him. Because he's created this aura around him over the years. He is legitimately Teflon. No matter what they do, no matter what they say, he is still the same person. He can transition through whatever they need him to do, and nothing sticks to that dude.
Which is awesome.
But yeah, you want as many of those people as you can get.
Yeah.
And Miz is absolutely a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Oh, no question.
Not even a question.
No question about that. No,
if you're somebody who legitimately doesn't think that the Miz is everything that we've said he is, if you're somebody who literally can't see how important the Miz is, then that is one of those, tell me that you don't know anything about the wrestling business without telling me you don't know anything about the wrestling business.
Well, and I couldn't agree more with you, but that does take us into our main event. We had Priest versus Balor, the street fight. It's everything you wanted it to be. They were beat the hell out of each other. We had some ECW type business going on with going off the balcony through tables. I mean, we had the match in the gurney thing. I have to say it. The gurney thing was cool as hell. Pushing
Yeah.
the gurney hits the ring and he rolls directly off the gurney into the ring. That was cool. Like, I don't know if it was planned that way, but it was cool.
Probably was. They probably practiced that at least 5 or 6 times.
But I did love the way they ended the match with Damian Priest saying, "I am not my brother's keeper," before he drops him.
Yeah, that was good. That was good stuff. Anytime you can reference New Jack City, I'm there.
I'm down.
Love
So-
me some New Jack City.
Yeah, it's a great movie, and it stands the test of time.
Very quotable. Lots of good quotes too.
Yep. That's it for our main event. Our main event moments. Is that what I call this?
Main roster.
Main roster moments. There we go. That's it for our main roster moments. We're going to move into something a little new now. It's called Big News. So I'm going to hit on a couple of news stories, and I want to hear what you guys have to say about it. Number one, Vince McMahon pays $1.7 million to the SEC for misusing company funds, but doesn't admit to any wrongdoing.
Vince never admits to wrongdoing.
That shouldn't be a surprise.
But now the Fed stuff is behind him. So now we just got to find out if he's going to go to prison for sex trafficking and defecating on somebody's face during sex.
I didn't do any of that, pal.
That was good.
I'm pretty sure you did all of it, pal. I'm pretty sure you did all of it. You're the one who forced your son-in-law to dress up like Kane and simulate making love to a dead body in a coffin. I'm fairly certain that
why do we got to go to Katie Vick?
because I'm saying if that's the kind of thing that can come from that mind, you know, the same mind who wanted to be the father of his daughter's baby, if that's the kind of stuff that comes from his mind, I absolutely believe that he could sex traffic somebody. Absolutely. Like that is the easiest case to try in front of a judge. All you have to do is throw 20 years worth of booking out there and say, this is what this man thinks is funny.
We've got.
I mean, it's open and shut.
We've got Janine Wade in the chat saying he's not going to admit it. Some people like the weird stuff, but we're going to hear more about this, and I have no doubt with more stuff's going to come out, it's going to be bad.
It's going to be awful.
See, since you started talking about the whole defecation thing, that makes it sound bad. But number two, WWE and TNA signed a multi-year contract allowing for crossover from TNA and NXT.
So exciting. This is going to be really, really cool.
J-Reb says, I think we had different experiences in high school.
Did you see the new teaser that's running online for Genesis?
I have not.
Genesis on Sunday. Now the reel shows the TNA logo and then a big NXT Genesis.
Okay. Now I want to throw this back to something I said, I don't know,
365 days ago.
No, it wasn't a year ago, but it was at least 6 months ago. I said something about having it was October. It was in October. I said something about this happening and us by 2025, maybe 2026, having a TNA versus NXT Survivor Series match.
Yeah. Well, I think that Genesis is going to be, and that's so funny to me that they already had Genesis as a PLE for them. It's their first PLE of the year, and now this relationship gets a press release and it's made public and everybody's talking about it. And the first time they're going to have a chance to interact after this release is a show called Genesis.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
Well. Very well
Like
played.
what great timing.
The other thing that this facilitates, and maybe this is just dream booking for me, I don't know, but I've been saying this since last year. This facilitates the ability at WrestleMania for Matt and Jeff Hardy to show up at NXT before WrestleMania, whatever they do, and drop their boots in the ring and call it a day.
I 150% believe that you're probably going to get your wish. Matt just had Jeff and Matt both just appeared on Chris Van Vliet this week, and Matt all but confirmed that they could probably have a TNA Tag Team Championship match on a WWE or an NXT show.
See, I'm just saying that's going to be a thing. Speaking of TNA talent, Nick Nemeth signing an extension with TNA for an undisclosed amount of time. Thoughts?
I think Nick's having a good time, and I think that they like Nick. And as long as Nick doesn't have anything else to do, why not?
Fair.
I'm in agreement with that. It just, I mean, he's having a really good run with the belt. You know, it may end this weekend.
Yeah.
But all in all, you know, I don't know. It's with the WWE and TNA thing. Is it possible he
Makes a move back?
makes a move back, but actually comes back as Dolph Ziggler, which actually is a bigger name.
I think that if he shows back up on any kind of WWE programming, he'll have to be Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah.
He was too big of a star. Whereas I do believe if Matt Cardona ever comes back, I think it'd be easy for him to be Matt Cardona because Zack Ryder wasn't that gigantic of a star. But Dolph Ziggler is a former world champion. They're not going to not have him be Dolph Ziggler.
No, I agree with that. Now going into one of the only two things that is not completely clowny about the clown show. Ross and Marshall Von Erich officially confirmed their signing with AEW. And while I am not thrilled with this because I'd much rather see them either stay indie or go to WWE, they're going to get paid. And they're going to get paid.
Oh, yeah, they're getting paid. Yeah, they're getting paid big time.
Oh, and I'm sure Dad helped negotiate that contract.
Oh, I'm sure. So that's the big news. And before we get into the clowny parts of the clown show, we'll talk about the other thing that was slightly less clowny, and that is the first in-ring match back from MVP.
I think it's meh. I don't care. I don't care about MVP.
I mean, I think as a manager, he does well. I don't know that I want to see him make a run in the ring.
No. Yeah, MVP. What purpose does MVP wrestling serve? How does AEW, Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin, the opponents in the ring, the storyline at large, how does any of that benefit by MVP putting on tights and wrestling?
It doesn't
At all.
I think it was one of the if it was anything, it was a one-off thing, and
It was for the pop.
he got something out of it. So now we can go on and not have to worry about it. But considering that was his first televised match since 2022, I mean, good for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, great for him. But I feel like the whole Hurt Syndicate thing it's just another example of Tony bringing in a brand new toy, pushing it really hard for a couple of weeks, and then we do something that, and where are we?
Well, I can tell you where we are. Where we are. We are starting after that. Notes from the that clown show. Yeah, see, I got music and everything. Number one, not a big fan of rated FTR at the moment. Like, it seems very put together last minute just so they can use the name. Rated R, from the rated RKO stuff and the rated R Super. It seems really put together so they can use the rated thing.
Oh, I can see that. But FTR used to be one of the best tag teams in the business. Now FTR stands for Find the Remote.
But don't worry, Cope's gonna make it better.
Hey, life imitating art is absolutely FTR being associates with Cope. Because that's all FTR can do right now is
Is Cope.
cope with everything.
That's AEW.
So they have been reduced from the hottest team in the business to the guys we card out for rah-rah speeches, and now they're just the edge heads. They're literally Zack Ryder
okay.
and Brian Myers.
They're Cope heads.
Well,
All right,
they ought to bring in Matt Cardona and Brian Myers and have them have a match with FTR to determine who gets to be Cope heads.
This is going to become a thing. I can already see it.
Okay, moving along.
They're going to go get, they're going to get a hit of Cope. Yeah, this is going to be a thing. Number two, Ricochet.
Oh,
Big bad Ricochet makes his way to AEW, starts some shit with Swerve Strickland, gets chased all the way out of the ring by Prince Nana.
yeah.
That guy.
Yeah. When he's not wearing toilet paper.
I mean, I'll give Ricochet this. He has made himself AEW's pure heel.
Maybe.
That's all I'm going to give him, but he has made himself a pure heel. And got ran out of the ring by this guy.
Okay, Ricochet, we mentioned something the last time we all got together and was talking about this. Ricochet was the work rate guy in WWE. Now he's gone to a place where it's all work rate, and now he's having to be different than everybody else because he's wanting to do story.
It's crazy. All right, now we're going to get into some little bit more serious stuff. MJF and Jeff Jarrett.
Ugh.
First things first, who approved Jeff Jarrett being out past his bedtime of 6 p.m.? Like, who approved that?
You're so rude, dude.
I'm going to tell you right now.
I say it in concern.
Okay, I'm going to tell you right now. One of these days, you may have to answer face to face with Jeff Jarrett about your actions, sir.
I will hand him an insure, and he will be fine.
Look, I would rather watch 1,000 Jeff Jarrett segments than the majority of what I saw on Wednesday.
Very fair.
Jeff Jarrett is at least compelling, but Jeff Jarrett being in the ring with MJF while they throw barbs at each other about whose wife is more of a whore, and then using Owen Hart's name,
that's the next
who has
thing.
been dead for how many years? He's been dead for 25 years now? He's been dead? and we're using his name to get heat? Did Martha Hart approve that?
I'm going to guarantee the answer to that is no.
I mean, are you kidding?
Well, and here's the thing: not only are they throwing barbs at your wife's a whore, your mother was a streetwalker, all these things, and they did do the Owen Hart thing. And there's certain things that I love MJF on the mic. I always have. I don't like AEW. I think it's a clown show. Tony Khan is a clown, but I've always liked MJF on the mic. But there's certain things you don't talk about. You don't talk about Owen Hart. You don't talk about Eddie Guerrero. There's certain things you just leave it alone. And for him to do that, I get what they're going for with it, but still, that's just, it's not a too soon thing because, like you said, it's 25 years, but still, you don't go there.
Yeah.
The thing that got me in that promo, though, is MJF actually hurting AEW in his promo. They're making this whole MJF Jeff Jarrett a thing, right? And then MJF says Jeff Jarrett is the face you see before a promotion dies. What are you saying about AEW?
That wasn't the smartest thing to say because, like, AEW is kind of circling the drain. So, I mean, you're kind of foreshadowing
He said the quiet
your own
part out
show.
loud, is what I'm thinking there.
It's, it is right now. It is the turd that is circling the drain, waiting for that waffle stop.
Yeah. The waffles.
And meanwhile, the place that Jeff Jarrett invented just signed a deal with the largest company on the planet to essentially be a creative partner. So, your rhetoric doesn't exactly hold up.
I do like, I'm going to talk shit about AEW because it's a clown show. But all joking and everything aside, do you really want to make Jarrett and MJF your focal point? Because what are you doing? You're taking arguably your biggest star out of the main event picture, and you're putting him in a position where he gains nothing with a win because he beat up an old guy, and it actually hurts him to take the loss.
Yeah, it's a horrible, horrible idea to put those two together. The winner of that match gains nothing. The loser of that match gains nothing. And now they've invoked, here's the part that I hate the most about invoking Owen. Jeff Jarrett now has to defend his dead friend's memory, and there's no way Jeff Jarrett is going to beat MJF. So he can't avenge Owen's memory. So not only have we invoked Owen's name, we've kind of crapped on him.
No, 100%.
This is why Tony Khan is a clown.
This is exactly why Tony Khan's a clown. And I feel like the higher ups at WWE have figured out that Tony Khan is a clown. So this is what we're going to do. Don't they have pay-per-views on May 24th and July 12th? They do. All In?
All In is July 12th, and Double or Nothing is supposed to be May 24th.
There was something else going on those days. Saturday Night Main Event going head-to-head against AEW pay-per-views. Coincidence? I think not.
Nope. Hell, I'm putting my women's show up against Double or Nothing.
That's July 12th?
No.
No, May 24th.
24th, that's right.
BCW is actually putting their July 12th against All In.
Yep. And we will get better ratings than the clown show. Because Tony Khan is a clown. And those are the notes from the clown show.
Yep.
So in our last little bit of time here, let's go ahead and talk about a few things. BCW Cold as Ice, hell of a show. In working with you for BCW Cold as Ice, I learned something.
Oh?
I learned that there are two completely undefeated entities, and that's Father Time and Mother Nature. Half our roster snowed in. unable to be
Yep.
there, and still we had probably one of our best shows.
It was a very good show. If
Uh,
you weren't there, you missed something.
There will be a video coming out soon, but just a couple of highlights for you. Jeb Bingham, our BCW heavyweight champion, defended his title against Marcus MD after Marcus answered the
Open challenge.
open challenge for the belt. Jeb was able to retain. However, Emilio Guzman, I can tell you after I talk about this, there will be an announcement coming out tomorrow regarding this. Emilio Guzman strolls down to the ring, pays the security that's standing between he and Jeb Bingham to beat down Jeb Bingham. And we went off the air with Emilio Guzman in Jeb's face, holding the belt, asking him who's enough now. And there will be an official announcement coming tomorrow regarding that. So big things happening. We had a group from El Paso show up and just absolutely light the place up.
Those guys from El Paso showed up. They showed up big. They helped so much, and props to them because Marty Snow, Chaos, Cosmo Orion,
Gmo,
and Gmo.
I think it's just Gmo.
He has a last name. It's probably it's there. But anyway, those four guys coming from El Paso, they're something special.
They are, absolutely. It was a great show. I can't wait for you guys to see the video. It will be coming out soon. So be watching socials for the links to the video. Let's talk Squared Circle Pro Collision Course. Coming January 25th, not this Saturday, but next Saturday, Jake's Back Room. And listen to this card. We have a 6-woman tag team bout for the Squared Circle Pro West Texas Women's Championship. The Free Babes, Nikki Chase, Miranda Gordy, and Hollywood Haley J versus Misty Marks and 2 mystery partners. Like, I've been running through my head. Who's it going to be? Who's it going to be? Who's it going to be? And I don't know.
Timeout. So Nikki Chase, if Nikki Chase doesn't get the pin, does that mean she loses?
Nikki Chase has to be pinned to lose her title.
Okay.
The title is on the line as long as Nikki is in the ring.
So if Nikki is pinned, the title changes hands.
Exactly, yes.
So saying that, if mystery partner number 2 pins Hollywood Haley J, Nikki Chase is still the champion.
Nikki Chase will retain the title, yes.
Okay.
She is defending her title in the 6-woman tag.
That's awesome.
Okay. I'm glad I asked because that was like, how's this really going to work? Because I was thinking more along the lines if Miranda Gordy ends up pinning somebody, then Miranda Gordy ends up walking away with the belt, and then Nikki Chase is just out with it. So I'm glad you cleared that up for us, Rick.
We've got the Squared Circle Pro Heck Yeah Radio pay-per-view championship. Baby Samoa going up against Eluvio. Eluvio on a bit of a redemption on this because Samoa and Rage was like, that whole thing was crazy. And Eluvio made it clear, you're not going to do that to my friend. You're not going to do that to my trainer. And now it's me and you. So Baby Samoa going up against Eluvio for the pay-per-view championship. We've got the Squared Circle Pro West Texas Tag Team Championship match. Los Crudos with Nolan Phillips, which I don't like. Going up against the Canadian Pitbulls. Now, I have to ask, which iteration of the Canadian Pitbulls are we getting?
We're getting Nico Elias and Romeo Falcon.
Okay.
Eric Angel is not cleared yet.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know about. If
He is working. He is working to get cleared. He may be cleared by spring break, but he is not cleared currently.
okay. We get a tag team grudge bout, Bloodlust, of course, that being Damian Blood and Lilith Blood versus La Migra, El Gringo Loco and Chris Watson with Diablo Blanco. This, I don't even have to tell you how long this has been brewing. Here's the big thing on this, if I understand correctly, if these stipulations still stand. If La Migra wins this match, Lilith Blood and Damian Blood are done in Squared Circle Pro. They
Yep.
retire.
Yep.
If Bloodlust wins this match at spring break, we get Lilith Blood versus El Gringo Loco 1-on-1. Damien's
Yes.
banned from ringside. Olive La Migra is banned from ringside.
Yes.
I am excited as hell about that one. That's going to be a hell of a match. We have a tag team match. LC Mox and Phoenix going up against FJT, which is Marquise Jackson and Nate Collins. We have a tag team three-way dance. Chasing Cash and Rob Boris. That's going to be fun. Versus Naturally Wild, that being Kal-El Santana and Atticus Wild, versus the Riot, Stevan Remsen and Reggie Lincoln. That's going to be wild. Like, I have my pick. I think I know who I think is going to win, but that could really go any of the three ways. I'm interested to see how Chasing Cash and Rob Boris work together.
I am too.
I am too. I thought it was a interesting choice by TJ to put them together. I know that it certainly threw Chasen for a loop.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
We have a six-man tag team grudge match. JP Nitro and the Camachos, Zarek and Onyx Camacho, up against the CWO, Emilio Guzman, Cesar Torres, JC Bravo. This is going to be ugly. This is going to be a fight, and I'm here for it. I can't wait to watch.
Well, that CWO is getting larger and larger by the second.
Yes.
Which is probably one of the reasons why Emilio is handing out envelopes at BCW.
That guy. So,
yeah, he has been in a recruiting process for quite some time, and he's looking for a takeover.
It's what it seems like, but JP Nitro and the Camachos are standing right in his way, so that's going to be a great match. We have one mystery has been solved, and I'm excited to announce it. We have a women's four-way, and we had already announced that it was Kay Daver, Nova Phoenix, and Pandemonium. The fourth person in this four-way will be a returning Evelyn Carter.
Nice.
Hold your socks, boys and girls, because this is going to be a fight. If Evelyn Carter and Nova Phoenix get within one zip code of each other, things are going to blow up. So I can't wait to see how this one goes. And then, of course, we have Ryan Riven going to be addressing the Squared Circle Pro fan base, the roster, and management. So it sounds like it's going to be a hell of a night.
It should be. It should be.
So
I'm excited for it. It's going to be a good kickoff to begin the year.
So do I need to make sure I have my running shoes on at this point?
For what?
Because I feel like I'm going to end up having to run out there and pull somebody apart at some point.
We're going to let you do
I
that.
mean, anything can happen.
Yes.
Like, I'm just saying, when you watch the old timey movies, the bar, how the bartender always lives. Let's apply that to wrestling. Wrestling is the fight, and the ring announcer is the bartender. And I need people to remember that.
Okay.
No, all joking aside, this is going to be a great show. I'm excited for it. It's next Saturday, January 25th, Jake's Back Room, $10 at the door to see all of it.
And there will be alcohol.
And there will be alcohol, and it will flow. You don't
And
believe
it will
me?
be plentiful.
Ask the guy.
You don't believe me? Ask Patrick. He'll tell you. Just saying. One thing I do want to talk about, going back to BCW Cold as Ice, I do want to send out a very heartfelt thank you to everybody that donated coats. At the end of the night, going into next week, we're going to deliver the coats. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, going into our delivery next week, we were able to have 36 coats donated for kids on
Nice.
South Fields, and that is awesome. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much to everybody that donated a coat. You're helping out kids, and you know how cold it's fixing to get. So those coats are going to be well used.
Yes, absolutely. We're gonna have some time to share a couple of things at the end of the show here.
Yeah, if we need to share a couple of things, go ahead.
Okay, guys, if y'all remember Team Chonkla from BCW, Angel
Angel de Paz.
Angel de Paz was involved in a pretty bad car accident, and he's been in and out of ICU. There is a GoFundMe out there. We will get all that situated, and we'll put it out on the BCW socials as well as.
We'll put it out on the Not Your Average Mark socials as well.
But yeah, whatever you do, if you're religious, keep them in your prayers. If you're not, make sure you have good vibes, thoughts, everything else you can get. He can do any. We need to just
We need to lift him up.
yeah, because it's not fantastic.
Angel, if you're watching this, we hope nothing but the best for you. Get well soon, man. And Rick, you got any final thoughts before we shut her down for the night?
I love where wrestling is at right now. The overall majority of wrestling on television is absolutely killing it. I'm very happy about the upturn in business. And as usual, I implore people, if you have the means to check out your local indie, no matter where you live, go check it out. Independent wrestling is absolutely necessary for the business. And if you think that you don't really get into wrestling and you don't really watch televised wrestling, I guarantee you, go to an indie show. It will absolutely change your perspective.
Couldn't agree more. And that's kind of where I'm gonna leave my final thought as well. This, for those of you that came to Cold as Ice, thank you for being there. And the crowd is always hot. The crowd is always live, loud, and into everything. And I enjoy that so much. If you are in the area, you haven't seen West Texas Independent Wrestling at its finest, then January 25th, be at Jake's Back Room. It's $10. That's like for those that drink the
coffees.
the fancy Starbucks coffee, that's 2 coffees. For the price of 2 coffees, you get to watch all of the action we just talked about. So come check out independent wrestling. If you're not in this area, you want to check out Collision Course, heckyeahradio.com. You can catch the feed there. If you're I don't care where you are. Wherever you might be, I can guarantee you there's at least one independent wrestling promotion within 30 miles of you. Go check them out. You may see the next person you see on, your favorite wrestler on television. You may see them at one of these shows because this is where it starts.
Mhm.
So check out your indies. Thank you to everybody that's watching, everybody that's listening, everybody that's going to be doing so after the fact. Of course, Mike, Rick, thank you guys so much for joining me. Next week, starting Monday, we'll be doing our week-long run up to Squared Circle Pro Collision Course. So it'll be a 1-hour show every night, Monday through Friday. You're not going to want to miss it. We're going to have all sorts of guests, so make sure you come check that out. Until then, that's Rick Elsey. He's Mike Caldwell. I'm your boy Guapo, and we're not your average marks. We'll catch y'all on Monday. Yeah.